Welcome to Childcare Conversations, the podcast where early childhood leaders like you get real-world strategies, honest talk, and a whole lot of support. Whether you're running one center or many, we're here to help you lead with confidence and clarity. This episode is brought to you by our summer partner, Childcare Business Growth, your go-to solution for filling spots, increasing revenue, and scaling your childcare business without the burnout. We're proud to partner with a team that's as committed to your success as we are. Learn more at childcarebusinessgrowth.com. Now, let's get into today's conversation, one we think you're really going to love.
Okay, guys, so we have on this week one of those people who is been making big moves, and you may not even know about it because we live in a very large world. Okay, there are a lot of people out there, and Noelle is one of those people that you need to know. She, along with Erica Sacoscio, put on an amazing event. Considering it was a first-time event, nobody would have known it was first time if they hadn't kept saying, this is our first time to do this event. The Education Empowerment Conference was amazing, and without Erica and Noelle, we wouldn't have had that. They met at another conference and were like, I've always wanted to do one of these. And then they went and did it because they'd already had so many other things they had done successfully. They knew that they had the bandwidth to do it. So, Noelle, what's going on out in your part of the world? Where are you? What's happening today?
I'm in New England. I actually live in Massachusetts. I live in Rhode Island and work in Massachusetts. I'm inside my childcare center. I have 134 students in there right now. We're doing performance reviews and raises. That's what we do in May. So it's an exciting day. So there's a lot of happiness today, which I love.
and people are leaving you alone in the office because they know you're making that math.
Exactly. Exactly. And then we're also, our center's actually in the process of buying a 19,000 square foot church, an old shut down church in the center of town. So while I'm not dealing with my childcare center, I'm working, renovating, I'm becoming a project manager of a large construction job. So I'm excited about that.
Oh, there's a flashback.
Right?
Both Kate and I have had that. Yeah, I turned a ranch into a neighborhood, and Kate helped a Girl Scout council build out new structures, new buildings.
Tear down old structures, which was the bigger mess.
Yes.
Because it was an old building with asbestos.
Yeah.
And anyway.
Amazing how many people in education also do stuff in real estate.
Yes.
Because we need similar skill sets.
Correct.
Well, and sometimes we need, I don't know, a building to put that childcare center in.
Exactly.
And, if we brought
Can't be right.
And if we brought Curtis on, Curtis would tell us why we all need real estate. And we've got other people who'd all be like, you need real estate. So, okay, I just thought of some other episodes.
It's so funny.
It's
a good one because I can't tell you how many people reach out to me through the Directors Club that they're in the middle right now of like their landlord came to them and the lease just like jumped and they can't afford it anymore. So I've been talking to them about, look, I'm like, think outside the box. What kind of place could you go that people don't typically think of? And then a month later, the church fell into our lap. And I'm like, I think we're putting a church in a daycare.
Well, what's funny is we just had literally a client that I talked to last week and turned over to Carrie because she was a better Carrie fit. Who literally is doing the same thing. She's like, she couldn't find a facility, and then found this church that's now been empty for like a year and a half. So like the landlord's like willing to negotiate. And I'm like, okay, but here's the thing, because at least in where we are, we run into a lot of people that jump the gun before having a conversation with us. And so like they think, oh, changing the zoning won't be a big deal, or, oh, I can just do this and tell the people at the city. And so, like I said, that's a whole other episode. So we're going to try to really hard, because Carrie's like really trying hard to like hold her lips, and Noelle's already, I can tell, but we'll come back to those episodes. We'll do a real estate horror story series and success series. We got to do both. So with that, No, well, one of the things that I think what made it so impactful that you were able to pull this conference together is that your team, you and Erica both have such solid teams, but your teams also had networks. And so I'm going to ask you to tell us about the Directors Club and Teachers Lounge, because I think you have two,
Yes, we
right?
do.
Okay, so tell us about them and how they got started and their future.
So when I started my daycare, we're going to celebrate 20 years. We celebrated 20 years in June of opening. But before that, I was in investment banking. And before that, I had speech and language pathology degree, and it was too slow paced for me. So I went into investment banking, which was crazy fast and loved it. And then I got laid off when Bank of America bought us. And so I started in the childcare in 2005. I own it with my sister. And so the two of us were doing it, and the recession hit in '08. And all of a sudden, all the childcare centers in the area, I'm booming at this time, and all the childcare centers in the area are like, they've lost a ton of customers. So they reached out and they were like, do you want to buy us? Do you want to do that? And I was like, why would you want to sell? Like, I'm full, and not thinking that, the quality really matters. And that's why, I mean, I've never not had a wait list in 20 years. And so I was like, well, what if I just came and met with you? And when I did, I just saw why people didn't sign up.
Yeah.
And, cleaning checklists, staff morale, like professional development, all the things. And so I was like, I wonder if I should start. So I started consulting in person. And then my friend Diane in 2014, we met on Facebook, and she's from Dallas. And she started the National Association of Christian Women Entrepreneurs. So I joined that. And I was like, oh my gosh, I should do this for childcare center directors. And so Zoom's been cool since 2014 for me. And I have people come on board. And so now we meet twice a week. And you can just come with your problems to collaborate. I love collaborating with childcare centers. And on the back end in the portal, I put all my documents from Scribble Time. So if you need a parent handbook, or you don't know how to write somebody up, or you don't know how to create a professional development plan, I have all that for you. And then you come to office hours and I'll show you how to execute it. Or you can hear ideas from all the other directors that come. And then, when COVID hit, we lost, mass exodus out of childcare. And so the biggest need that I saw in my own center, because we ended up going after CNAs. We were like, come here, you don't have to work weekends and holidays. And so them and restaurant workers. And so we brought them in, and they're now teacher certified, leading classrooms in our center. They've been here for a few years now, which has been amazing, but the learning curve. So we took all their professional development goals and we created workshops for them, me and my team. And that's how the Teachers Lounge kind of came about. And so that's like an add-on bonus as a member of the Directors Club. If I'm talking to somebody and they're like, oh, I'm trying to get my lead to be okay with directing her staff. Oh, well, we have a podcast, we have a checklist, we have a something, just to support them. Or a new teacher that was in restaurant, super friendly, but doesn't know how to get engaged in the classroom. And so we just have resources for everybody that you can imagine that would be in childcare.
Oh, well, how exciting. So, how does somebody get involved in the director's chair? I know that before we came on camera, you talked a little bit about kind of what's going to be coming up. And
Yes.
so I know you don't necessarily have an exact date, but
Yeah.
what's the new goals?
So our new goals, so you can go to the directorsclub.net, and that has all of our stuff on it. But we're kind of refreshing because we've been doing it for 11 years. And so we're just refreshing our offerings. We have a whole brand new business framework. So if you were going to start a child care center, if you like your documents just haven't been updated in a long time, we have an entire framework that comes with all the documents, all the SOPs, all the checklists, like all the training. We also have our customers love collaborating. And so we're increasing our time on Zoom. And then directors love workshops. So as a member of the Directors Club, you get to come to any of our workshops at no cost. And we just offer a lot online and in person.
Oh, well, how exciting. So you said the directorsclub.net,
Yes.
and I presume this is membership driven or they
Yes.
pay for what they want. How does
So it's $47 a month and you get access to it all. So
well, that seems like a no-brainer.
it does to me.
That's
I love
definitely
it.
affordable.
Yeah.
Everybody listening should be going, okay, I'm writing that down. I get director support for $47 a month, and I get a resource library with all of this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, $47 a month is less than you are paying for goldfish.
Yes.
I think
Well, and what's
Exactly.
great is if you go to this episode's show notes, we will have links to all of Noelle's information and to the new membership program and all of the new stuff that is coming out. And you guys might be the first ones to see the new stuff.
Yes.
We're gonna try to make that happen. We'll see.
Yeah. Right.
So, Noelle, I know that you talked about that you are in business with your sister and that you came from not a childcare background. Carrie and I have been business partners for 25 years and we're cousins. So it resonated a little bit. And so share with the folks who are listening that are like maybe owners by themselves, maybe they're owners with a spouse, or maybe they're thinking about getting a business partner.
Mm-hmm.
What might be something that you might go, oh, this is absolutely the reason why, and this is what you need to look for?
I just wrote a business plan for my SBA loan for my church. And in it, I wrote, I had no idea 20 years ago that this was the best partnership ever, besides it being my sister. Because we learn nothing about business going to college, or very minimal about learning the business skills in college. And so I felt like that was my strength that I brought to the table. And she was so well versed in preschool director, all the different things of operating a center, that the two of us would sit down and we would just solve problems together, and they worked. And I feel like when you always, like, as a manager, I always tell people, bring on people that have better strengths than yourself, because that is the best way to collaborate. It's so amazing when you're surrounded by people that know way more than you about a lot of different things. And I think that really benefited us. And then also when we did set it up, we were like, business is my lane, the classrooms are your lane. And we like have stayed to that philosophy. Not saying there hasn't been a few conversations in the background, but um, you know, we collaborate really well together when we each bring our strengths. And so now 20 years later, she knows all the business stuff that I've taught her, and I know all the early ed stuff. So it's been a great relationship.
well, and coming from the background of the speech pathology,
Yes.
there's at least one element of, okay, there's a kid with a challenge that you can
Yeah.
go, ooh, ooh, ooh,
Yeah.
me, put me in, coach, put me in.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And I ended up going back to college to get my early ed degree because I was like, I want to be a better director. And I thought that was like so amazing. But then this is why I started the Directors Club, because I didn't learn any of the stuff I thought I was going to learn in
So
college.
what did they teach you in your degree that you were like, I didn't need to go to college for that?
I think there was like it was a lot of theory. And I'm not against theory at all, but I would love to see, and I'm a huge proponent of heading to the state house and making my voice heard frequently. I have this Friday morning email that I send out to elected officials for 20 years now. And I'm like, enough with the philosophy, like we get it. But if we were implementing more or collaborating more, I think that you would learn so much more. And if we had a little trip into the business department while we were in early ed, I think that would be beneficial.
So I loved your statement, and I know that it's how you feel. So talk to me more about collaboration and maybe even how people collaborate, because I don't think everybody understands that phrase. I know I have run into, so I've been working, I have a similar-ish connection background kind of thing where I went from athletic training and nursing into being a business analyst to starting a registered family home. And my path just continues to do some funky zigzag. Like, I don't know. I was definitely not on a singular focus
Mhm.
anyway. And so I struggle with running into female entrepreneurs. And yes, I am absolutely going to call a spade, where female entrepreneurs often see each other as competition instead of how to collaborate. And we are entrepreneurs who are serving a similar market, but there's 900,000 childcare centers in just the United States.
Yes.
So 990, I don't know. There's a bunch. I did the math and
Yeah.
now I've forgotten. I might have added one too many zeros, but
I think there's too many zeros, but that's
Yeah.
I was like, wait, there's 9,000 in Texas. I think that was too many zeros. So probably 90,000 childcare centers without the registered family homes in the United States. And so there's more than enough for us to all support each other and collaborate. And, I think it's a great thing, but you mentioned something about helping directors find their people. And so what
Yes.
does that mean to you?
So I started a child care center in North Attleboro after I started our own, and my father was like, "Why are you making competition?" And I'm like, "You have to understand, there's so many kids in our community. There's not enough child care centers for everybody." And so I don't look at people as competition, but more like I'm offering a service that Kate, you and your family might like, but Carrie might be like, it didn't feel right. I like this one better. And that's amazing that we have those opportunities for our families and for the students.
what I think is funny is that nobody says, why does PepsiCo own both KFC and Taco Bell? Aren't
Yes.
those direct competitors? Because they both serve food.
And Pizza Hut.
Yeah.
And
Oh, yeah.
like nobody tells PepsiCo that they're doing it wrong. But a childcare center, a childcare business that owns 3 centers within 25 miles, people are like, you're making competition for yourself. No, I'm not.
Oh,
I mean, Curie had 4 centers and they were very different, very,
yeah.
very different.
I think they are too. And I think different businesses are, harder to get consistent, like, because the culture is different, the people are different. But I think it's so important when we collaborate together. And I didn't realize what a big thing it was until a couple years ago. I read a book called Changeable by James Alban. And he's a doctor at Mass General. And he talks about the importance of collaborating with one another to solve problems, behavior problems, problems with your family, at home, at work. And so I love bringing people together, and we can all say, okay, like the other day on the Directors Club, shocking. We all were talking about people calling out and the volume of it. And just to go around the room and hear like tactics people were using and strategies, and just like, oh, someone hears me, right? Is so good. But also like to get maybe an idea on a policy that you never, oh, if I had that, it would solve this. So I think that we're better together when we come together and collaborate with one another.
I love that. So if somebody's listening to this and they're struggling, they're like, I don't know the other directors on my street.
Yep.
What would you suggest is a good place for them to start without, especially if it's out of their comfort zone or out of their thought process? They're like, I live on a street that's got literally 12 childcare centers in a
Yep.
3-mile radius. And or not just a 3-mile strip, not even a radius, like it's just the just the
Yep.
road. And they're so different, so different. But I know that I'm probably the only one that knows all the directors, right? Just
Yeah.
from a business standpoint. And they do all view each other as competition. And I'm like, no, because if
Mm.
I want that kind of program, I'm not going to you.
Yes.
If I want Montessori, I'm not going to Kindercare.
Yeah.
And yeah, they're across the street from each other. But if I want a tiny Montessori, I'm not going to go to the Montessori that's right across from Kindercare. I'm going to go to the one that's 4 doors down.
Yeah.
It's a tiny
Exactly.
Montessori,
Yeah.
very different than the big Montessori that is trying to outcompete size wise and look wise and even feel wise that of a Kindercare. And I'm like, stop trying to be your neighbor.
Yeah. I always tell people to reach out to them, email, phone call if you're afraid, try an email, and just say, look, I would love to get together and collaborate and talk about things we're struggling on and what's working in the community. So in Massachusetts, we're doing that right now. We have a private Facebook group, that not me, but like the state has one for everybody. And we just the other last week I was in Taunton, Mass, with 5 centers from Cape Cod all the way to North Attleboro, and we all talked about biggest struggles and licensing requirements that are coming up. I love doing that. I just hosted with 2 other centers in my town. We all shut down for a half a day and we brought in all of 60 of our teachers together with an occupational therapist came in and taught on sensory and behavior. And so what we did was taught the workshop and then we completely mixed the tables up so no one was sitting next to anybody that they knew. And that felt good at the end. And we all sat around and collaborated on behavior issues that we're having. And we put leaders at every table. So not only do the directors get to collaborate, but if you can find ways for your teams to collaborate and things like that, and it could be basic. What's your biggest struggle right now? And everyone at the table just shares it. Or what's one big success you had and everyone can celebrate you. So when you come together and do that, my team like loves doing, like I'm the crazy one. I'm like, we're going here next week. But it like they say it all the time. They're like, this has been amazing to talk to other teachers and get ideas.
Because it also gives you that feeling that you thought you were the weirdo and that maybe you weren't a good teacher, because if you were a good teacher, then you wouldn't have kids wrestling in the block center. And so it must be something you're doing wrong. But if you're in a room and there's 3 other people whose kids are also wrestling in the block center, then you know, oh, it's not just me. And then you can get to that conversation of, oh, these kids are stimulating their gross motor, their
Yeah,
large muscles, and so they want to do more with large muscles. So maybe we bring in some other large things right next to the block center for the kids to do, like balance beams or those weighted yoga balls or whatever.
yep,
But you're not going to get there if you're feeling bad about yourself because you obviously are running your block center wrong,
yeah,
because
exactly.
it's not happening at other classrooms in your center.
Yep. And I always tell people when you show up, don't be afraid because everyone in the room has either had or has the same problem you have. Everybody. No teacher.
Or they will.
Yeah, exactly, right? They will. And I always tell everybody bring a notebook and just like don't go in with a idea of like, oh, I'm not going to learn anything, or I always do it this way. Go in with an open mind. You have no idea what information you're going to get today. And I love watching the fast writing and that they come out with all these ideas and feel supported. I love that.
Well, I love you talking about you have 3 programs in your community that come together, because that was something that Carrie and I were helping programs do like 15 years ago before it was cool. But it was entirely out of a necessity. It was a rural town. They had 5 programs that were all very different. Most of them were small, and they couldn't really afford to bring a trainer in to any one of those small schools. And it almost didn't make sense, right? You got like 11 teachers total, right? So paying somebody didn't always make sense. And so we had a program that really wanted to bring us in to do a large half-day staff training. And I'm like, great, well, why don't you pull everybody else in? And they were the church. And I said, you guys have this huge, mess hall kind of thing. Let's do the training there. And it started what became a monthly training, which one of the directors said it was a great for them because they were having some high staff turnover. And what happened is everybody kept hiring each other, like each other's staff.
So good.
Well, this now meant that they now knew some of those staff. They also knew what training those staff did or didn't have. And so it actually stopped people from leaving and going to other
It
programs.
stops the poaching because now everybody knew who actually paid attention in workshops and was invested and involved, and who was in there filing their nails.
Yes.
And then you're not going to hire the person who files their nails through the workshop.
Exactly. Exactly.
You're like, okay, I'm going to go steal some people from retail or food service or the CNAs or, people who are tired of doing medical coding or, whatever, and bring them into the industry. Because I think we all get so tied up in, oh, everybody I hire has to have 5 years experience.
Exactly.
They got to get it somewhere, and they may have got it at a cruddy program.
Yep.
I'd rather hire new people and keep them for 5 years.
Yep. Totally agree.
Oh yeah,
But
I think we're definitely all on board with that philosophy because I think we've all learned it the hard way, and
Mhm.
we've watched folks, and we probably all have seen the and people use the term, they call it a want ad, and I'm like, that is not a want ad. A want ad is, can you do it in an inch?
Yeah.
Right? Can you get them excited enough to call you off of a 1 inch square? And that is a want ad, and so they put up the job descriptions, which is their wish list.
Mm.
But I know you've had this experience, and I'm sure it's been on your director's club probably way more times than they want to, is that hiring of a lead teacher, that their viewpoint needs to have a degree and needs to have, all these things, but yet we're going to pay them, the equivalent of 725. Like, I know Massachusetts doesn't pay that. So,
Yeah.
but whatever the barely what they're going to make in fast food, we're trying to get people with a degree in for. And um I loved your approach. And it's,
Thank you.
Carrie and I always talk about, if you're out at a restaurant and you see the server who's really good with the kids and is making googly faces, or really is relating to the parents. Maybe it's not even that the kid, but they got that parent thing down.
Yeah.
And give them your business card and say, if you ever don't want to work evenings and weekends,
Right.
right? So
give us a call. We're happy to help.
Exactly. Can't
So-
say I haven't poached somebody from a Dunkin' Donuts.
Yes, it doesn't. I mean, there are
Yep.
plenty of people who are good at customer service,
Yes.
which is a big part of our job, and we don't like to think about that.
Yeah,
People
yep.
are like, no, 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 it's all about the education. No, no, no. Even at the university level, it's not just about education. It's also about the customer service, because Rate My Professor exists.
Mhm.
And, you have to have people who are good at customer service, and then we can teach them about early childhood.
Exactly.
and don't forget, customer service does include sales.
Everything.
I mean, to me, the best, if I was going to go right now and start a program from scratch, everybody in my administrative team would probably come from car sales lots,
Yep.
because
Right.
I want them to be able to sell
Yep.
and to get people. I can teach you about the kiddos if you need it. Like, in reality, those enrollment specialists, they just need to know how to sell the product, and they need to know enough about your product versus the product of everybody else in the neighborhood, right? Like,
Right.
And you can find that out by pulling everybody together 4 times a year and having those half-day trainings like Noelle
Yes.
was talking about.
Yeah.
So,
or mystery shopping, like,
Yes.
who
oh,
doesn't
yeah.
like a good mystery shop?
Yep.
There's
So-
not enough people doing that.
And we've actually partnered with some people who are doing childcare mystery shopping,
Love that.
because that is something that we are a $60 billion industry.
Mhm.
And there's like 4 people in the entire country who mystery shop professionally.
Wow.
That doesn't make any sense. There are hundreds of mystery shoppers in the convenience store business.
Right.
And outside of gasoline and cigarettes, we have about the same amount of revenue as convenience stores. So why are we not secret shopping? Why are we not doing this?
Yeah, that's a great idea. That is a good idea. I love that.
Well,
So-
I mean, that's the same with the temp services, right? Like, there's not
Yeah.
enough temp services. Carrie and I predated so we were substitutes on schedule, so SOS.
Yeah.
And it was great. We learned a lot. We did a great job. We hired people. For Carrie's program constantly. This was pre-smartphones, so landlines and pagers.
Right.
And we weren't yet 30. So there's a component
It
of
was
that.
a short-lived business, but we learned a lot, and we have a lot of respect for the companies that are continuing to do it now. And we think everybody should have a contract with at least one substitute service. But
Or start their own in their community so that they're providing it
yeah.
for everybody else on the street.
we
Exactly.
talked to somebody about that recently, and they have basically a nanny agency, and they provide substitutes for childcare centers, and they provide babysitting and nannying services. So
That's
all
a great business.
and I was like, this is a perfect partnership. People who want to have it, they've run their center for 10 years, and they're kind of like, okay, what I want to
Yeah.
do something new. I need a little bit of excitement. This is like the perfect extension, which
Yeah.
is why we did substitutes on schedule, is because I needed it. I had 3 schools. I needed substitutes. And the substitute service in town was constantly telling me they didn't have anybody. And I was like, we're a college town. There are college kids who would be happy to pick up an extra, $50 on a day or $100 on a day. I bet we can fix this. And we did. We just didn't have all of the things in that we would put in now if we were doing it. Okay, guys, I hate to tell you this, but we're almost at 30 minutes because we've been in the industry for 80 bazillion years and we've been supporting directors for 80 bazillion years. We have so many things in common and so many things to talk about.
I think Carrie's saying that we were talking too much, Noelle.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So what I was saying is, I think if we go any longer, we're going to be more wide ranging and we're not going to be able to have good show notes. So, I'm going to say, let's stop here and we'll remind everybody, you need to spend the $47. According to me, Carrie Casey, I say stop. If you need to not buy as many goldfish, get some Cheez-Its instead. And
I know, I was like, so
when
should
the
I tell
director-
everybody you're talking about the snack food? Because I felt like
Yes, get the Cheez-Its instead of the goldfish and sign up for the directors club. And we will talk to people again with Noelle. I have no doubt about it. I was a member of the director club in the last couple of years of having my school. And it's a great resource, guys, and it has changed and evolved over the years. We used to get little boxes. Now it's, there's more online stuff. But guys, Noelle is a resource that you need to be accessing. We will help you with the long form training. Noelle will help you with the ongoing monthly maintenance of keeping your sanity in place.
Thank you.
And if you learned something from today's show, please share the show with someone who needs to know. And if you would like to be on an episode, go to Kate and Carrie at childcareconversations.com and email us, or fill out an application at www.childcareconversations.com. And don't forget those 3 W's at the front. Otherwise, it doesn't like you. And we would love to have you on. And hopefully you have parked your car and it is time to get out, and we can't wait to see you next week.
Thanks for tuning in. We love bringing you real talk and fresh insight from the world of early childhood education. Be sure to follow us on social media to stay connected and catch all of the latest episodes. And if you're planning a conference, training, or special event, Kate and Carrie would love to speak to your audience. You can learn more about their keynote sessions and workshops at kateandcarrie.com. If you learned something today, share the show and leave us a review below. We'll see you next time on Childcare Conversations.